Hello everyone. This video is for Module 8, Working with Advanced Functions, found on page EX523 of your textbook, Working with Advanced Functions. I will be completing the review assignment again on page EX523. The workbook that we will be using is called Employees. So please go out to your data files on Blackboard and look for Employees. Okay? I'm going to read the opening paragraph while you're going out there to retrieve that workbook. Vanessa wants you to analyze the MBHC employee data to determine each employee's work anniversary, available comp days, and bonus eligibility. She also wants you to calculate the bonus amount for eligible employees. Complete the following. Okay, I've already done steps 1 and 1, and that is they wanted me to rename it, so I right-clicked on Employees and went to Rename on my desktop and called it MBHC Employees. So you could have either done it that way, or you could have opened up the Employees table and done a file save as. But in any case, this is the way it should look for you. Okay, there we go. It's got 4 worksheets. Step number 2, in the documentation worksheet, enter your name and the date. And please make sure you enter your date, your name, and the date that you're working on it. Okay. Oops, this is 7 already. Okay. All right. So Steve Whiteman, 7/3/2019. That takes care of step number 2. Step number 3, in the employee data worksheets, I want to make sure I go to the right worksheet. Employee data worksheet. It says to rename the table as employee TBL. So I go to table design and I go to table name. This is from chapter 5. We covered this in chapter 5. It's called employee TBL. And hit enter. Okay? That was step number 3. Step number 4, in the work anniversary, so I'm going to scroll over in the column L, work anniversary column, enter an if function. If the month in the employee's hire date matches the month in the data tables worksheet, which is cell B4, that's my test. If that is true, then we want the word yes. If it's false, we want it to be blank. The typical if statement. Test something, tell it what to do if it's true, what to do if it's false. So I'm going to find my if function. So I go to fx. I'm going to find it under the all category, or it could also be found under the logical category. But we're looking for if. Now, it only wants me to look at the month of the hire date. So there is a function that allows me to just pick out the month, the 7, the 11, the 12, the 3, the 5, etc. And that is called, of all things, month. So I'm going to do month, open parenthesis, E2, close my parenthesis. Now, don't worry with the fact that it put the range name of hire date in there. Just click on B2 or E2 and it will do that automatically for you. Click on cell E2 and it will do that automatically. So it's looking at the month of my hire date. Does that equal, I'm going to go to data tables and click on cell B4. Okay? Now, it tells me in the instructions, hint, remember to use an absolute cell reference to cell B4 because the formula will be copied to the rest of the column. All right, so I got to use absolute referencing, which also comes from a previous chapter, so we can't forget what we've learned. It continues to follow us. So we put dollar signs to make it absolute. Okay? Now, if that is true, they want the word yes. If it's not, they want it to be blank. So I do quote, quote. If month of the hire date, 7/11/12, equals whatever's in cell B4 of the data tables, then say yes. Otherwise, leave it blank. I click OK, and the only ones that should be yes are the ones that start with 4. Hence, over here, work anniversary this month is 4. So the only ones should be 4. So there's 1. It's 4/12. If I scroll down, I got another one, 4/20. So it's working. Another one, 4/3. Okay, and then that might be the last one. Nope, we got another one, 4/24. So it's working. If that begins with the month 4, there's another one, 4/19. Okay, so it's working. 4/10 is my last one. So again, I'll bring that up so you can see that in the formula bar. But if the month, I'm looking only at the month of the hire date, which is E2, if that equals cell B4 on the data tables worksheet, then give me yes, otherwise leave it blank. Okay, that is step number 4. Step number 5. In the eligible for bonus, column M, enter a formula with an if and or function to display the text no if the employee's pay grade is D or the employee's job status is a part-time PT. Leave the cell blank if the employee is eligible for a bonus. Okay? So, I'm going to type this one out. Equals if, open parenthesis, and the word or. If, open parentheses, and or, because I have 2 conditions to look at to determine whether it's true or false. So I'm going to open up another parentheses after or. The first one is I'm going to look at their pay grade, which is D2. So I click on pay grade D2, cell D2, and it puts the pay grade range name in there. So again, don't worry about that. But D2 equals, quote, D, quote. Does that equal D? Comma, I got to do my other or, so that's 1. If it's pay grade of D, or if their job status, so I click on J2 and it puts job status, equals, quote, part-time, PT. Close my quote, close my parenthesis for the or. It's going to look at one or the other. If pay grade is D or their job status is PT, comma, then they want the word no. So I do no, and I'm going to put that in quotes, quote, no, quote, comma, or just leave it blank. Close my parenthesis. So let me leave that up there as well. If, and I use the word or because it has to be one or the other condition, pay grade equals D or job status equals PT, then give me the word no, otherwise leave it blank. I hit enter, and the only ones that should be no, I won't go all the way down and check them, but is either their job status is part-time, which this one is not, however their pay grade is D. Next one, again not part-time, but again pay grade of D. And I'll look at this last one here for me to check. They are part-time, so it matches one or the other conditions. We get they're not eligible for bonus, otherwise we leave it blank. Okay, that's step number 5. Step number 6, in the comp days column, enter a formula with nested ifs to display the number of comp days that an employee will receive based on their years of service. The table for comp days is on the data tables worksheet. Hint, again, they're telling me to use absolute reference. So this is in column N. So I'm going to click in N2, and I'm going to do this again by typing. Equals if, and the first thing I'm going to look at is how many years of service they have. And I happen, before I do this, I'm going to hit escape. Before I do this, I'm going to look over here. If they have greater than 10 years of service, they get 3 comp days. If they're greater than 5, they get 2. Greater than 1, they get 1. Otherwise, they get 0. All right, so that should help me a little bit. So first, I'm going to look and see if their years of service is greater than 10. And then if it is, I'm going to tell them to use that cell, 3 comp days. Then I'm going to test and see if it's greater than 5. They're going to get 2 comp days, and then et cetera, et cetera. So here we go. Equals if the first thing I'm going to do is check their years of service, which is F2. Again, it puts in the years of service range name, is greater than 10, comma, then I want you to go over to data tables and give me B11, comma, okay? If, open parentheses, because I want to say if that is not true, if they're not greater than 10, then I want you to check something else. If, go back to employee data, if F2, again, is greater than 5, then I want to, comma, go over to data tables, and this time they get B10. I got one more to do, comma, if their years of service is greater than 1, comma, then they get B9, comma, otherwise they get B8, which is 0. Close my parentheses as many times as I have them open, which is 3. For each one of my ifs, there's 1 open, 2 open, 3 open, so I have to close it 3 times, hit enter. Now, I'm close, but I didn't do the hint part yet. The hint said that all of the cells in my data tables, B11, B10, 9, and 8, all have to be absolute, so that when it copies down, it doesn't go to 12 and 13 and then 14. That wouldn't make any sense. So I have to use my absolute referencing, okay, for each one of those cells. Okay, almost there. This is called a nested if. You're doing an if within an if. Okay. Hit enter, and I got all the right answers. This is somewhat what I do in my grade book. I say if a student has a grade percentage of greater than 0.895, they get an A. If not, check and see if their percentage is greater than 0.795. If it is, give them a B. If not, check and see if it's greater than 6.95, give them a C. Otherwise, check and see if they're greater than 595, give them a D. Otherwise, give them an F. Okay? So that is step number 6. Step number 7. In the bonus column, which is column O, enter an if function with a nested VLOOKUP function to calculate the bonus for each employee based on whether the employee is eligible for a bonus, column M, and his or her pay grade. The bonus information for qualifying employees is a table named Bonus Table in the Data Tables worksheet. Okay, so if I go over here just to take a quick look at my bonus table, okay, if they're an A, they get this. If they're B, C, and D. So I got to do a VLOOKUP that says look and see if they have an A. If they do, then they get the second column. So we got to use that old VLOOKUP again. So here I am in the column B for bonus. All right, here we go. Buckled up. Okay. So I do an if equals if, open parenthesis. And first I'm going to see if they are eligible for a bonus. Okay. So I'm going to click right here on M2, eligible for bonus, and I'm going to say if it equals quote, quote, okay, which means that they are eligible for a bonus. If it's blank, they are eligible for a bonus. It's only if they have a no that they're not. So equals quote, quote, comma, and now I have to do my VLOOKUP. So I do VLOOKUP. We kind of did one of these in chapter don't even know. We did a VLOOKUP, maybe chapter 3. Okay, so VLOOKUP, which says I want to look up their, what was it? Let me read the instructions again. To calculate the bonus in column M. No, we already looked at column M. To calculate on pay grade. So I'm looking for pay grade. So I go over to column D and I click on D2. VLOOKUP if their pay grade, okay, that's what I wanted to look up. Remember, then we do table array, column, or comma, their table array. So I go back over here and I select this entire column, or table, okay, A13 to B17. I tell it to look at the second column, okay, and then I'm going to tell it to find an exact match, or I'm going to just do a 0, okay. Otherwise, they don't get a bonus, comma 0, and close my parenthesis. So if eligible, look and see if they're eligible. If it's blank, they are eligible. If that's the case, look at their pay grade, go over to the data table, find it, and then go down to retrieve the second column's information, then give me a Z. Now, I've got to make my absolute referencing for my table because I don't want that range to change when it gets copied down. We have to consider this before we hit enter, what we do and what we don't want to have copied down. Everything else looks like it's okay. I hit enter, and it calculates the bonus that that particular person would get based on their pay grade. So I'll leave it up here on the formula bar. If we're looking to see even if they're available for bonus. So if it's blank, they are eligible for bonus. If they are, we want you to look at their pay grade, which is over in cell, so for this particular first person, it's a pay grade of B, okay, so it's in column D that we're looking it up. Go over to the table, go down the table until it finds that particular pay grade, retrieve the second column's worth of information, okay, otherwise they get 0 bonus. So there we go. All right, so that was another lengthy one. That was step number 7. Step number 8, in the years of service, so we're going to go over to F, it says, modify the formula to include the if error function and display the message invalid hire date if the error value occurs. Okay, so I come over here and I click just before, let me see, let me get organized here, okay. So I'm going to do equals if error, open up the parenthesis, kind of like an if statement, if error, okay, comma, at the end I do invalid hire date, close my quote, close my parenthesis. So if error gets added at the beginning, and then invalid hire date gets added at the end. I hit enter, and I don't get anything that says invalid hire date because I don't have any at this point, but they're going to have me test it. It says, I'm on step number 8, in the years of service column, modify the formula to include the if error function and display the message invalid hire date if an error value occurs. Test the modified formula by changing the date in cell E2 to 7/10/2014 to 17/10. So put a 17 at the beginning, hit enter, and that's an invalid hire date, and that's why we get that. Okay? Step number 10, let's see. No, I'm on step number 9, I'm sorry. Kind of the same process here. In the work anniversary, that's what was getting me confused, it's pretty similar. In the work anniversary, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do if error, open parenthesis, and at the end we're going to do comma, quote, invalid hire date. Close parenthesis, or quote, close parenthesis. Okay, again, we now get that, and again, because of the hire date being incorrect. It's almost identical to what we just did. We just entered the if error at the beginning, and then at the end, we enter invalid hire date. Okay, so now I'm on step 10. Edit the duplicate values conditional formatting rule applied to the employee ID. So I'm going to go over to the employee ID, which is column A, and I'm going to go to conditional formatting, manage rules, and I'm going to edit this rule. Okay, it says in the work, edit the duplicate values conditional formatting rule applied to the employees D column so that the fill color of the duplicate value is formatted as light blue. So I'm going to go to Format, and I'm going to go to Fill, and it wants me to pick light blue instead. That's how we're going to edit this. We're going to click OK, OK, and OK. And we're going to test it by going down in A101. And we're going to change this to 3226, which will be a duplicate. And therefore, we get the light blue. Okay. Step 11. In the Employee Analysis worksheet, enter the COUNTIF functions in cells B3 and B4 to count the number of part-time and full-time employees, respectively. Hint, count the job status column in the employees. Okay, so I'm going to click in cell B3. I'm going to go to FX, and I'm looking for COUNTIF. So I'm going to go to the All, scroll down, till I find COUNTIF. Click OK. The range, I go back to my employee data, and I want to go to the column that has, which is column J. I'm going to select all of these from J2 all the way down to J101, and I'm going to tell it I want to count how many FTs there are, full times. So I'm telling it to count the entire column, but only count it if the criteria is FT. I click OK, and I get 89. I'm going to repeat the process, but this time for part-time. So I go to FX, I go to COUNTIF, click OK. The range, of course, this time will be the same range, J2 down to J101, but this time I'm counting the PT, and click OK, and I get 11. Okay, I'm on step number 12. In cells C3 and C4, we're going to almost do the same thing, but this time we're going to do a sum if. Sum if. So I go to FX. I'm looking for sum if. A lot of functions in Excel. Okay, sum if. The range, again, I'm going to look for all of the job status of FT, and the range that I wanted to add then would be the salaries. So I come back over here, and this time I'm going to select K2 to K101, click OK, and it's only adding the full-time employee salaries. I'm going to format it as accounting with no decimal places, and repeat the same thing, but this time for PT. So I go to FX. I'm going to go under most recently used because I know I just used some F. There it is. Click OK. The range, as you can already guess, is going to be J2 down to J101. This time I'm looking for PT and count the salaries of all the PTs. So I scroll and select all of the current salaries because it will only count those that have the criteria of PT. Click OK. I'll copy my formatting by using my format paintbrush. So I click on C3, the format paintbrush, and click on C4. And one last one, and this one's the average if, which works almost identical to the sum if. So I go to FX, I'll go to all, find average if. Okay, we're almost done. Again, I'm going to use the range of all of the column J. Again, I'm looking for just the FT, and the range will again be their salaries. K2 down to K101. Click OK. Again, I'll make it accounting, no decimal places, and repeat it finally for PT. So I go to FX, most recently used, average IF. The range, as you already can guess, is again J2 down to J101. Look for PT, average of the salaries. So I select all of the salaries from K2 down to K101. Click OK. Accounting, no spaces, there are no decimals. Okay. Step 14, save and close. Well done. Good job, everybody. That's it for the review exercise for Module 8. Thank you and have a great day.